here with Arizonans for Children, and this is the second video in our September series. Today we'll be discussing activity ideas and a few tips for planning activities based on whatever kind of visit you're doing. So if you haven't checked out our first video, be sure to take a look at that because that's where I go over all the different visit options that mentors have right now. Before I get started with the ideas and tips for today, I want to let you guys know that I will be doing similar videos in the future where I just do one visit option at a time and go into a lot more detail. I'll begin with in-person visits, and you may recall that these can either be on-site or off-site, so we'll start with on-site. I mentioned in the last video that usually children don't like these visits because they're eager to get out of the house, but it's kind of hard to plan activities to do out right now, so it may be helpful to do an in-placement visit. This will depend on your mentee's placement type. If it's really crowded or noisy or things that you enjoy doing just can't be done in the house, then this might not be ideal for you. However, it can be a good opportunity to do things that you would normally not be able to do. Cooking and baking are examples of activities that could be really difficult to do normally, so this might be an opportunity to do so. These activities are a lot of fun and they teach your mentee some great skills. You can also do a lot of projects. If you like arts and crafts, for example, sometimes that can be harder to do in public, or you could even do science-y type of projects, or really anything hands-on, maybe easier to do on-site in your mentee's placement. You can also do things like help with homework, watch TV or movies, or play a few board games. Okay, so now let's talk about off-site visits. These are a bit difficult still because there's a lot of restrictions and closures, there's safety considerations, and it's still pretty warm out. So it's kind of hard to pick any activity, and it's really hard to find free and low-cost activities. One idea is to check out a drive-in movie. These are definitely more popular these days. It's a great option because you can stay away from large crowds, and most people love going to the movies. I also recommend checking out places that you and your mentee already know you enjoy and seeing if they have any weekly promotions or deals for certain days. You could potentially plan your visits around these, and that may not always be possible, but it's definitely worth looking. I also recommend websites like Groupon where you can potentially get some good deals on different activities. Another activity idea that a lot of people don't think of is you can take your mentee on just normal errands that you're running. So if you live close especially, you might take them grocery shopping with you, and that's a great opportunity to teach them life skills. And even if you don't live nearby and you're not really running your own errands, you can still go into something like maybe a home store and talk to them about things that you normally buy, because these conversations may not happen, and these are really great skills that you can pass on. Now we'll talk about virtual visits. I do think there are a lot of options for virtual visits, but it kind of depends on your interest. So if you enjoy arts and crafts, for example, you can find plenty of activity ideas. If you and your mentee normally get together to play sports in the park, it may be harder to adjust to virtual visits and find something that you enjoy. So I think it's important to be willing to try new things and be prepared to come out of your comfort zone. One idea that could work for most people is volunteering together, and virtual volunteering is getting more popular. There's a lot of different opportunities that would work well for almost anybody. Online gaming can provide a lot of options for you and your mentee. You can find all kinds of games from checkers to trivia or even something more advanced, especially if you're on a gaming platform. This can be a really fun way to connect. Communications can be done virtually or by phone. If you're doing visits and communications, then this part wouldn't really apply. This is more for people who are only doing communications, because sometimes having an extended conversation can be kind of difficult. So these tips are meant to sort of help boost that conversation and give you something more to talk about. One way you could do this is to have something planned for your conversation. This could be a game like Would You Rather or 20 Questions, or it can be something kind of like a lesson. For example, you can talk about what you need to do to buy a car and go over basic automotive care. I know that's not the most exciting thing, but it is very beneficial for mentees to learn these life skills. I would just recommend talking to them to get an idea of what topics they might want to do and let them know ahead of time, rather than surprising them with a conversation about taxes. The other advice I have is to plan coordinating activities for the week. I always like to use reading as an example. So you and your mentee could pick a book to read and agree to read a few chapters each week, and this will give you something to discuss on your next conversation. It also helps you feel connected during the week when you can't talk or see each other. I hope you guys found this helpful. Like I said, I will be doing more videos in the future where I break down the visit types and go over even more activity ideas, tips and tricks, and help you find other resources depending on the type of visit you're doing. There will be links for everything that I discussed today in our weekly newsletter, so remember to keep an eye out for that. I will be posting 2 more videos next week. So until then, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.